Good morning. Good morning. Can I be heard pretty well? Yes. I'm very soft-spoken. If you heard me the last time, I had to yell because the microphone wasn't quite well, but we did really well. So hopefully I can, engage you all and you can hear me very well. First, I'd like to thank you all for having me here. The staff here has done such a wonderful job. A special thank you to Rebecca, Deborah, and Anna. Thank you so much. I really enjoy being here. This is my second time here. The last time I was here, I spoke about specifically Black maternal health. So today, hopefully I can get over to what a doula is, not just a doula, but midwives, birth workers, and the totality of birth. So thank you so much. This is an opportunity that I really do not take lightly at all. So please bear with me and thank you for lending me your ear. First, I would like to give you an understanding of what a birth worker is. Since the beginning of time, there were women within every community that were considered the wise women, or midwives. And the term midwife means with women. The word doula is a more new term that, does not necessarily take away from what it does, but they were just called midwives from, I like to say, the beginning of time, right? Because being born has happened since the beginning of time. So these wise women knew things about the physical, spiritual, mental, emotional well-being, as the beautiful story that Anna shared with the children beautifully articulated. The wise women provided spiritual counsel, and they were considered to be among some of the highest ranking within the community. Traditionally, midwifery was a vocation via apprenticeship that did not have as many titles as there are today. So today you have a doula, which, deals with more so compassionate care, educates mom, physical support like massages and providing herbal and nutritional support, breathing, like the term said, coaching. The doula provides spiritual support, keeping some of the faith traditions throughout the entire pregnancy, providing mental and emotional support, calming fears. Life circumstances happen, and the doula really supports with that more non-clinical support. A midwife provides clinical support. That's like the level up, if we could say, from being a doula. And the midwife provides prenatal visits, infant care, postpartum support, doing all of the clinical things, and the one who catches the baby. Babies are caught. They're caught. We say babies are delivered, but really the physiology of birth, the mother and baby have a relationship, that it knows exactly what to do. The body knows exactly what to do. And the midwife just stands and waits and supports the family by just catching the baby. So just the correction on delivered versus catch. Then there's the midwife assistant. And the midwife assistant is the wise woman who provides continual support for the midwife during the labor, and whatever support that the midwife herself would need. Provides much of the same non-clinical support as a doula does. Everyone educates, everyone provides spiritual support and emotional support. Then you have lactation consultants today, mental health professionals that all support maternal and women's health, and including an OBGYN. Now, an OBGYN really is a surgeon who provides surgical procedure or alternatives, medical interventions when natural birth is not really possible, right? So if there's any kind of hindrance to that natural birth, surgical methods need to be employed in order to prevent injury or the loss of the mother and or baby. So today, the sermon titled, The Time to Be Born, comes from that Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 15. I think that is one of the most beautiful scriptures I just really love that scripture, and I wanted to share, and I thought it was very appropriate. But most people don't think of the time of birth in the perspective that I, like other midwives and doulas, do. Not only the time of birth and surrounding birth, but the timing of the events throughout the entire pregnancy, the postpartum, and the entire life cycle. As Anna talked about a little in my bio, that I support the full circle of life, and that full circle of life begins at the beginning of life, throughout life. I even support when chronic illness takes place. I support cancer patients as they go through chemo or need surgical procedures, and just needing someone to hold their hand as you're dealing with a lot of different hardships in life in the medical way. And then even toward end of life, supporting pregnancy and infancy loss, because that's a factor. We like to think that every time you see a pregnant woman that there's going to be a new life that is going to be born, and thriving, but that is not always the case. So being ready to support at all stages and phases of life is really what we do. And so the things that happen throughout, are very, very important, and even more, the reality of its relationship to God. So with that, hopefully I can acquaint us all personally with the reality of such a time to be born, and the wise women who are alongside the family throughout that process. As the scripture beautifully expresses, there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And the growth and development of any new life within the womb of its mother is in large part predicated on timing. From conception, every single thing happens on a very specific time. When does the baby's heart start beating? When can you hear it on a Doppler? What are you seeing in an ultrasound? Every single stage of this new life, there is something that has to happen on time. And we see its effects when things do not happen on time and in its specific time. There's a saying that during pregnancy, a mother exists in two worlds. She really has one foot in a grave and one foot not in a grave. That's such a very, very, very delicate time that one small thing, one small moment can change the entire dynamic of that relationship between mother and baby. We as the community looking at it, and the role that we play as well. The doula and midwife, or as it has been understood since the beginning of time, wise women of the community would not only support the mother, but also the family. She would educate on the physiology of pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum. The wise women that tend to birth since biblical times have a spiritual knowing or connectedness to pregnancy and birth. Even in the Bible, it talks in Genesis that the midwife knew that Rachel was having a boy, or the midwife knew that Tamar was having twins. There's just this knowing that comes with midwifery, regardless of what your faith tradition is or what you believe in. There is a relationship between us, our bodies, and everything natural, the natural order of things. As I have attended many birth and supported pregnancies, I can attest to the realities that there are clients who I've told to do a specific thing. You have to drink this tea. You have to, go walk. You have to do these things. And that was a definite. And then there was another client that I would have, and I would tell her something maybe totally different. No, you need to sit down and just rest. Just sit down and it's okay to just rest. No, I don't think you should drink that tea. Maybe have this juice over here. And there's just this knowing that time would really prove the reality of the difference in that guidance. And not necessarily do I always know why I'm saying it, just kind of going with it sometimes and just trusting that knowing that we do have. There are many factors that cause and affect whether positive or negative on growing. So I'm looking at everyone here, and I'm sure probably a lot of you are like, this is so beyond my stage in life. I'm not dealing with pregnancy. I'm I'm past this. This is so irrelevant to me. And I get it. I'm right there with you, right? But we all play a particular role in the effect of this new life. Our environment, the womb, space of the mother is an environment. The home that the pregnant woman lives in is an environment. The neighborhood, the nation, the outer world has an impact and an effect on this new life and the mother. Nourishment is a factor. What physical food is mother taking in? What mental and spiritual food is mother taking in? Because all of these things impress on the new life. What kind of support? The community support. I heard a testimony in the joy of having a mother-in-law. That is just so amazing to be able to have come and support with the children. And she's in the nursery, so you know you have to go make sure she knows that she's very welcome here, because that it really is a great help, and it really is a great thing to have support, and very necessary. The mother, the father, the partner, the family, the friends, the community, the church community. But so regardless of where you are in your life, just know that the things that you do have an effect, and we all have a responsibility to every new life that comes into the world. In terms of the environment, the wise women, they educate the new mother and family about the womb, or the first home where the baby is growing, moving and shifting, and the mother's organs create space. And there's so many things that go into the womb, but then there's the reality of the outer world and different chemicals and mold and mildew and toxins and things that can affect the growing child. There are endocrine disruptors in lotions and soaps and cleaning agents within the home, outside of the home. What are we spraying on the grass, in terms of pesticides? And what are we growing? What kind of food are we growing? How's the soil content? All of these things affect this new life that is coming into birth, and it also affects the mother. What extremely stressful circumstances. There's domestic violence of all types. There are socioeconomic and financial hardships that weigh on the mother, that if I don't have a place to live, or if I'm concerned about these different aspects of my life, surely that it's affecting the new life. What foods are we eating? The book definitely articulated well that the doula and the midwife help to understand what foods we eat that help to grow the body. What we eat is a direct impact on that growth and development of the new life, some more consequential than others, whether it be physical food, spiritual food, mental nourishment. What are we reading? What is mom watching on TV? You know how that feels if you watch something scary. I don't do horror. I don't do scary, especially at night, because I'm going to dream about it, right? So that has an impact on us emotionally. All of these factors impact the new life and mother, whether we can put our finger on its relationship, right, or the correlation to each other. There's trauma that happens in the womb. The wise women provide significant mental and emotional support. There's uncertainty in birth. I support, or at least I try mostly to support home birth. And home birth, for a lot of people, it's uncertain, we're so used to being in a hospital, but we haven't really seen so much of the natural physiological birth that can happen. And so there's some fear there. There's this unknown thing that is happening within our body. And that alone causes a level of stress. And if you've ever heard that stress is the number one cause of chronic illness, acute illnesses, a lot of the dis-ease that we have in our body is caused by stress. So imagine that level of stress on a new life growing within inside of a womb. There's increased cortisol that has a direct impact on the growing fetus. So with all of that, we understand time and that there's a natural order of things of this new life. The process of growing a new life must be in obedience to its natural order. Labor and birth of a baby must go through a natural order in order for the new life to be born. When there is an abnormality, then there is that surgical procedure. And there are circumstances that may occur that no matter what you do, the growing life may end before it has a chance to come to life or shortly after it's born. Regardless of the outcome, there is a new life. And for every new life, there is a new mother. No matter how many children come from that same womb, each time there is a new mother being born every single time. And the postpartum stage cannot be dismissed regardless of outcome, whether there is a baby coming home or there is a baby not coming home. The mother is still a new mother and still needs that physical support that the wise women offer. Beyond the outside factors, the mind of the mother growing the new life is imprinting on the mind of the new life. And as an example of that, can you just look around even? Look at how many women have given birth. Look, all of us sitting here were born, so there's somebody that we can point to say, wow, what were the circumstances surrounding birth? What were the circumstances what was in the mind, what was being imprinted? We can look at all of the greatest people of the world, whether we agree with the way that they do things or not, right? We can see that there are some great people in this world that have great impact and do a lot of things. What was on the mind of their mothers, right? What were the circumstances surrounding their environment and surrounding their birth? Even the best among us that we see sitting here next to us today, that we break bread with on a regular basis, what is in the environment, right? As wise as the women are, there are some things that wise women do not know and must rely on the acceptance of the will of God, as I would like to call it. We don't know what time we will be born. We do not know what time we will not be here anymore, what time we will die, when life is. It's such an intricate stage, but the scripture does say there's a time for everything and there is a season for every activity under the heavens. We're just moving and shaking and doing the things, but only God knows the time of these things. And it says, what do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. I think that is so beautiful because no matter what the circumstances are, it's still beautiful in its time. He has also set an eternity in the human heart. That is a continuum. Every new life, new life, new life, new life. There is an eternity in the heart of every human. No one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. If you don't know what toil means, it actually means long, strenuous, fatiguing labor, struggle, battle, laborious effort. And so that's a beautiful thing that we have to find satisfaction in. And I know that the wise women find satisfaction in that. And even more, I can't express to you the fullness of the power that exists in the spaces of birth. As a birth worker, traditional doula, midwife, there's so much that happens when new life comes to existence. There's a power, there's a confidence, there's a sacrifice that the new mother goes through that is so beyond words. I don't know if any of you have ever seen home birth or have seen birth where it's just a natural physiological birth, and it's just so powerful to watch, to imagine. And even so much, I'm Muslim, and there's a story in the Islamic history where a person came to the messenger or Prophet Muhammad, and he said, who among people is most deserving of my fine treatment? He said, your mother. He asked again, who next? Your mother. So he asked the prophet again. He said, well, who next? Come on. He said, your mother. And then he asked again, then who? And thereupon he said, then your father. So 3 times more, right? That's 3 times more that the mother is deserving of fine treatment, because there is a great reverence that we all must give to the womb that brought us here, no matter the circumstances, no matter the struggles or disappointments that come with life. reverencing the womb and honor and respect that must come to the womb, that sacrifice life in order to bring new life. We all have a womb, though, if we understand, regardless of anything, we all have a womb, whether it's a womb of your mind that has an idea that you're going to give to birth. I heard the guitarist say, you know, he created this piece, and you said it was kind of dark, but, you know, hopefully you guys are pretty receptive to it. But that was something in his mind that he brought to birth and, you know, brought out. And there was a specific time that he had to utilize with the pause of the sound and the movement of the sound. And every way that his finger moved, there was timing with that. There was an activity to get that sound over to everyone to hear, to witness the birth of that music that he created in the womb of his mind. This church is a womb, right? Everybody that is here is participating. There's activities that are happening, and we're being shaped and molded as we go out of here, right? When we send our children to school, that's a womb. It's cultivating a new life in the mind of the child, educating, so when they go out in the world, they're knowledgeable of things, right? Our home environment, our community, all of these things are wombs. And what are we growing in it, right? What effect are we having in the world around us, right? We're all kind of midwifing. We're all kind of Dulaing everything in this world in our own way. We're all participating in the activity that is going to be the cause of an effect of some new life, of some new thing that's going to come into existence. So there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the sun. The wisdom of the scriptures, the pastoral care, all of these things, you know, are being shaped, and we're all wise. We all have some wisdom as we go through life. So as I close, we are in the here and now and have an effect on those that come before and those that come after. The time to sow and the time to reap or harvest are the cause of an effect of activity in its proper time. If we didn't sow, we won't reap in its proper time, and there's certain care that has to go into that process. But I know me, I'm a gardener, and when I go outside, I'm like watering, and if I'm anxiously looking to see if that seed is going to come, and then sometimes I'm looking and I'm like, okay, it's not growing, it's not doing anything, and I'll leave it alone, and then eventually it comes. I never know when it's going to happen, and that's the thing about everything. We just are participating in the activity of life. We are here. So it says in verse 15, whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. So this is the time to be born. I leave you as I came before you in peace, and thank you very much.